Well, it is. Oh, oh. Okay. Okay, Emily.
We're good.
Yeah, we're recording.
Yep.
Okay, guys, we're recording.
All right.
It says it's recording. Recording. Okay, this is what it looks like behind the scenes. Okay, I am here with Dr. Emily Jacobs at her beautiful home. She made me a homemade latte, and cheers, Emily. You guys, this is so fun. This is my first time ever recording a podcast live in person.
It's the best.
Usually I do it through Zoom. Emily's like, just come over. We'll do it at my house. So here we are. Welcome to the Adversity Podcast. This is my beautiful dear friend, Dr. Emily Jacobs. And you guys, I'm so excited to have this conversation with her. You know, we were talking about before we started recording, just the general theme of this podcast is really about powerful women who have forged their own path, regardless of how hard it was, regardless of how much, fear comes along when you're really following the path that God has asked you to walk. And, it's not the traditional path and it is the harder path. So Emily is such a beautiful example of somebody who does that and inspires other women to do that for themselves. So thank you for being here.
You're welcome. I'm so excited.
I'd love for you to introduce yourself as,
Sure.
Who you are. I could give everyone a beautiful spiel about that, but I always love for people to kind of just share who they are from their point of view.
Yes. Okay. So I'm Emily Jacobs. I think the biggest thing I want people to know about me is I spent 20 years in nursing, and it was a very, very, very solid career, a very stable career, if you will.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just a constant need. And then I switched gears in 2021, and that was really difficult. I think I knew for a few years before that I was going to do something along the lines of coaching. There was this thing called nurse coaching back in the day. Well, it's still there. Sorry, it's not back in the day. I found out about it back in the day. And I was like, I don't understand. Like, what is this? And so I think I kind of always knew that I had this coaching spirit, making things easier for people, helping them see the light. So I spent a lot of years in nursing education. And I think that's like the summary of what I do. I mean, there's a lot of things around that. I wrote a book. I love speaking and all those things, but truly, like, I think to my core is I really help ambitious women kind of narrow in their mindset, work through getting out of burnout, and learn that literally boundaries are essential to your well-being. And all of that comes from my personal story.
Yeah.
And I mean, I guess, and professional, but I think when I realized, like, oh, I can be in this space and I can maybe step away from that corporate job or see what that's like on this other side, which, as you said, it's not the road easier to travel, but I think sometimes we need to take that road. I think sometimes we need to see if that's the road for us. And I don't think it is for everybody.
Yeah.
And I think we need to, if we feel that ambition around that, like, I just need to try this, because I think too, and I think the listeners know, we just don't want to have regrets. We don't have to say, well, what if I did that? And those are things I heard, maybe not both my parents. My dad did a lot of different things, but I heard my mom say, oh, I wish I would have, those types of words. And I'm like, I don't want to say those things.
That's so interesting you say that, because listening to you say, like, oh, my mom was always like, I wish I would have done that. I heard my mom say that very often, and it's just now clicking, wow. And maybe that's why I'm in this place of, I never want to have any regrets either. And if it doesn't work out and I fall flat on my face, I try something new, or I go back to what I was doing, right? I tell my clients this all the time. You're never trapped.
No.
And I think that was like something that I always thought, like, if I go to college and I get this degree, like, I'm gonna have to do this forever. So I better know. And I'm like, wow, I never had to stay where I was at just because I thought that's what I was supposed to do. And it's like breaking free of that programming.
Yeah.
But what a great point about, our own journeys really lead us to being here. And while you're in the thick of it, you're like, I don't know why I'm here,
Oh, yes. I was just coaching someone this morning, and she's like, I know what I don't want. Right. And we were talking about that. So what don't you want? Then there's no other option. We don't go back there. She's like, I don't want to go back. I'm like, no, I hear that. So then what is it going to take to go forward? However, I think even especially for a new entrepreneur, it's that cost of burnout is so high.
Yeah.
I guess even an experienced one. If you're programmed your brain that hustle and burnout's the only way to the top, first of all, what is the top?
Yeah.
That's always defined by you. You get to decide that. And so then there's always a cost with something. So where do you then outweigh that cost benefit of I'm mentally not okay, but my business is great, or my relationships suck, but my business is great, or it's I take a small portion out of that business, that time and energy, maybe even lose a little finances, but guess what's doing really well, right? So it's like,
yeah,
just and I think we just have to constantly reflect that to me maybe it's even a weekly reflection of, all right, what buckets need to be filled that aren't filled? Is my bucket filled? Is my kids, my husband, where are we at?
Oh yeah.
And there's always a sacrifice.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I mean, I think that's the whole thing of entrepreneurship. I was actually writing a post about this morning, and like, it's not for the weak, like there's moments where I'm crying on my kitchen floor. I'm like, how am I going to make it through this month? And then there's months when I'm like, this is amazing. And like, I did it and I arrived. And, I mean, it is a constant, it's the biggest test of faith that I've ever had in my whole life, and really allowed me to deepen my relationship with God. But it's like, now that I know what it's like to really be a creator and allow God's visions to come to life through me, and then watch them come to life in the people that I work with, it's like I can't go back.
Yeah, because you're already
it's
changed.
so hard.
Yeah,
It's almost like you can't unbecome who you become.
Mm-mm.
And even on the hard days, and you hear from a client like, wow, like this work brought me to this place, and I can't believe it. I'm so grateful, and I can't wait to like teach this to other people. And you're like, that's it.
Yeah. I think you make up a really good point, is that sometimes when things come so naturally and easy, you kind of wonder, we almost second guess, like, that was too easy. I don't know. It's like we always want to make it bad, or say something like, I didn't deserve it, or I wasn't worthy of that.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you hear that a lot in your practice. I hear that all the time. And I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. You are given it because you already are. And then
I just got chills.
I know, me too. I'm like, what? Did you hear that? I need to go write that on a Post-it note somewhere.
God's in the room, but
I don't. Well, first of all, we can reflect on that too. Like, I don't think he wants us to suffer.
Yeah.
First of all, so if you are sitting in a suffering moment, now, are you choosing to suffer because there's this light over here and you have to get through that? Because sometimes that is important, right? Or are we just spinning our wheels and we're like, why am I even doing, like, what is the purpose of this? This isn't moving the needle. This is not good for my health. This is not good for my relationships. Then you want to ask, like, what am I even doing this for? Because to me, that's clearly not, I don't think God wants, no, there's no way. And so this happens almost daily. Okay, you guys hear this? It happens daily in Emily's world, where I'm like, wait, what? Like, 80,000 thoughts in a day. And I'm like, wait, God, which one was I supposed to grab onto? Whichever one was the easiest and felt the best.
Yeah.
And I think for me, like, I'll feel like anxiety coming up here, and I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. Like, that's my red light signal of what's not, this is not okay.
Yeah.
So I think it's just even coming back to knowing, like, you were given these special gifts. Megan has different ones. We have actually similar gifts, but they're still different than mine. The way that she helps people, the way I help people, and where do we allow ourselves to use our gifts for good? I mean, use like what we have for good, and to say, this excites me and lights me up every day. I know we were talking about entrepreneurship too. We're like, we don't like all the back end stuff. It's hard. But there's like VAs out there. Like hire me over here. We're getting there. But I think when we get honest with ourselves and our business, that's the same thing, is what parts of my business just don't light me up and it's sucking the life out of speaking for you, or showing up more visibly in other ways that you need to put that energy there. So let someone else whose gift is, organizing or social media or whatever that may be for your business, let them shine there, where you get to offer that to them.
Right. And that's such a great point, because sometimes we take away from, I call it the divine sequence of everything. Like, everything moves in the perfect sequence at the exact time that it's meant to, with the exact people that are meant to be there.
Yeah.
But you have to also be trusting and letting go and being in your highest light. So me wanting to do all the things and not being able to delegate, like, that's not me being in my highest light at all. So therefore taking away from someone else being
You are,
because it's not in the divine sequence of everything. So
you're robbing them of joy. You are literally, by you not employing someone.
I know.
It's okay. I gotta tell myself this too.
But you know what I mean, right? Like I'm not in my alignment. I'm not in that synergy and balance that we talk about with our clients all the time. It's like, maybe I need to pour from this bucket into this bucket to make sure that everything feels good. And if that means taking a slight pay cut for a minute to find that alignment, I mean, and that's what I mean about the journey of entrepreneurship. It's the biggest test of faith that you'll ever go on, not just in God, but in yourself.
In yourself, for sure.
Like you gotta trust yourself. Like, okay, I got all these things. Which one feels good? I don't know. Is it the right one? Is it the right thing?
Every day.
Yeah.
Every single day. I mean, it was literally a conversation with my husband last night. He literally sent me a podcast about analysis paralysis, and I've been doing this for years. And he's like, when we get stuck in the should I, the shouldn't I, is this good, is this not, right? It's you against you or God, whoever, but whatever you want to decide for that. But really in your business, it's what then brings me the most joy with this, right? And I think that's the hardest part of knowing when to kind of hustle a little bit and when to pull back. And I mean, I'm a hustler and it's just what I love. And then I'm realizing that where was that energetic balance by the end of the day? If I come home and I'm exhausted for my family, well, then that's not a good balance. So spreading those things out, getting more intentional. And yes, I think it is robbing someone of joy and love and being able to express themselves and helping you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that was a decision I made last year. I'm like, I want to take away some of these things that don't align with me, or hire somebody to help me manage it all. Well, I had to get really honest. I took away things that brought in great money. And I was like, okay, but that's not lighting me up anymore. So I had to pull that back away before I decided, okay, I'm going to hire somebody. Plus then at the time, my husband's like, you're the worst boss. No one's going to work for you. Sorry. I'm better now. Everybody listening.
She's doing
we're doing so much better. No, but I think through a lot of my work, through my own healing with boundaries is why I'm so passionate about helping other women, is because my boundaries weren't that great. And I had I've been already teaching it and doing it, but there was times that I wasn't even really doing what I was teaching.
I resonate with that so much.
Hear yourself after you give this bomb ass presentation and you're like, that was so good. One time my husband did hear me and he's like, did you even hear? That's great advice, Emily. Wow, you're helping a lot of people. Are you going to listen to yourself? And to know that he was there and he heard that. And every time I gave that presentation going forward, I was like it was almost like that slap in the face. And it was finally I need to be in this. I need to really fully experience boundaries and really get honest with myself before I start making more changes.
Right. And I do this too, right? And it is interesting when we look at leaders or people that we admire and we really think they've got it all together and they know exactly what they're doing and they talk about this, so they must be an expert in it. We go through the same stuff as everybody else. It's just, we have the ability to navigate through it in a different way because, we actually do know the way, right? So whenever something comes up for me that I have to move through, I got to remind myself, you know exactly what to do.
Yeah.
But it is taking that off the pedestal because everyone's a real human being in their own experience, We were just talking about that and I came over and I'm like, Emily, I'm burned out. I needed a break. I needed a break. I went on spring break. I'm like, I even need a break this week because what's happening for me is I'm realizing that what I love to do and what I want to do, I don't have time for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I'm spending time on these things that man, I think it's important. I think it's great, but I just don't have the time for that anymore. I want to be a really present mom for my kid. And that's the number one for me. My work has always been second. So how am I going to restructure and move and navigate and say yes to the things that I want to and know and maybe ask for some help, right?
Yeah.
So we're all faced with, moving through these things, but it's that fear that if I don't do it myself, I'm gonna have to pay somebody and then I'm not gonna make enough money and then I'm not gonna, right? It's all that fear just starts to come in. And where does that even, that's not even real. And it's
not real.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's reminding yourself, these are the moments when I dig into my relationship with God the most because this isn't about me.
Yeah.
It's not. It's not. This is about God doing his work through me.
Yeah.
Right?
We are the vessel.
Yeah.
I think. And I think that's when we get in our heads, not if. So
Yeah.
like Megan and I both literally, came forth and said, this happens to us every day. I said every day. I'm like, it's just pretty much every day. So, but when that happens, right? Not if, is going, wait a minute. In that moment, can you pull into an awareness and go, what am I allowing here that's not serving me? Because it's usually those former selves of you, those limiting beliefs, whatever you want to call it. It's like, to me, I'm like, I just feel like the devil's got my ankle and he's just pulling it down. And he's like, I got you again. Like every day I got you back. Like like we're coming out every day. And some days I lose, meaning like some days I don't have that strength.
Amen.
But not to go down the shame cycle. It's like, oh man, I really let that guy win. I want the other guy to win today. So then it's like, okay, so today, use me as that vessel to help somebody. Yeah. And that's how I look at it, is that it's not about me. And this, it's like, it's not about us. We are here as a tool, just literally whether it's in your business, whether it's in your mindset, whatever it may be. It's almost like let us help you through that language, right? Because this was the gift we were given, and you and I, like, we just want to serve. Like, that's what I pray about. I'm like, give me the people that I can be an answered prayer for them, as others have been to me. And I just want to be like, I do want to help everybody, but I now know that I'm not supposed to, and I'm not meant to, and I have burned myself out doing that. Mm-hmm. So now I just pray for the right people that are excited to work with me and go through that journey together. And I will serve them beautifully, but they already know that. And that's how we kind of let that go, is to say, I mean, it really shouldn't be, I don't say everything should be easy. We were talking about that earlier.
Yeah. But I guess like effortless, maybe, like in a way where it flows, and there's no resistance. So it's like when you start chasing something, or like, oh, what do I got to do to like figure this out and like get it, and I'm gonna like try and discount, and I'm gonna try and overextend myself, and all the things, and then it's like, oh, okay, and then it never ends up really being a good experience, but it's a learning experience.
Yes, if you try too hard and you're bending over backwards for people, most likely that person's not even going to take you up on that. Excuse me, right? And you'll be like, why did I do that anyway? Why did you do that? Why did you do that? You bent over backwards. Now, again, if you're a business owner, you can do whatever you want with your business, right? As long as it's an integrity, you would do it for another person. I've done things before, and I thought to myself, well, if this backfires, would I be mad at myself? Mm-hmm. All right, but I had to try it. Yeah. One time it did, one time it didn't. Is that good feedback? It's just a matter of what felt right in my heart. And that's where I go to God, and I'm like, what do we do here? This person hasn't paid and they were supposed to pay this, or this person did this and they didn't do this. What do we do? I use my heart. Yeah. I literally pick up the phone and call and say, what's going on? How can I help you? Well, I can't afford that. Okay, well, what can you? Let's figure this out. Because again, at the end of the day, I'm there to help and serve. Or can I find you somebody else that maybe could use this or do that? And I think when we start letting that go, and it's not about us, right? So good. It's not about us anymore. Yeah.
Well, and that's just like a bigger theme of it all is, and this is a journey of your own, like self-exploration and self-discovery, and like your relationship with faith, and like all these things. But you get to see yourself in a different way, where it's like, I think when I first started on this journey a few years ago, and like all the business coaches are like, you have to charge this and you have to do that, and this is the way that you have to run your business or it's not going to work. And it's like, oh my God, like that never felt in resonance for me. I always like, it's not black and white. There's a million shades of gray, and I want to be a good human at the end of this. And I want my clients to be my friends. Yeah. And I know some people don't act like that, but like, I'm digging in your soul. so like, we're going to be friends. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the really cool thing, and it's just like the theme of following your heart and what God's asked you to do. When you get to run your own business, you really get to do that. There's no parameters around like, someone's telling you have to do it this way and that feels bad, or you know what I mean?
I would fire those coaches immediately. Everybody, like if someone's like, do this and you're going to make blah, 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 do this and this is what's going to happen. Now, based on their feedback of what they've used with their own strategies, they could say, based on this feedback, this is what we've seen from other clients. That's different. But do this and this will guarantee it. No, I would fire them on the spot. However, it's because it's always going to come back to what feels good for us. And I could say, based on those numbers, what success have you seen from other clients? But I think you're right. At the end of the day, I'm like, if it doesn't feel good to us, it's not, we weren't supposed to do it that way. And the only way to know any of these things is trial and error. And you have to be willing. You've known this too. It's like you have to be willing to hear no a million times and just find the yes. But you have to keep going.
Yeah.
And you have to be willing to, I don't like the word fail. There's no failing in my mind, but you have to be willing to know that not everything will work. And so you're going to put something out there. And if you put all your effort into it, right, which guaranteed most of us aren't. I'm sorry, but not all of us do that. It is very energetically, emotionally time consuming. But if you put everything in there and it still didn't work, did that fail? Or what did you learn from that, right? And then maybe you had bad energy around it. Maybe you were like, I'm just doing this for the money, which, hey, we all need to make money. Sorry.
That's a lack and scarcity wound.
Right.
You're creating from lack.
Like I'm just gonna, do this and it's gonna sound desperate and this, well, I mean, obviously then that person's picking that up as she needs this that bad.
Oh my God. And we could do like a whole thing about energetics. Cause like I love that stuff. And that's why sometimes like if I'm not in a good place to share a post and if I'm just doing it to do it, it's never gonna land because like I actually don't know what I'm saying right now. And I think that's so important. One of my digital courses that I created in 2020, Emily.
Okay.
This was my first thing. And I'm like, I'm going to create this course. I worked so hard on it. In Kajabi, oh my God.
It's beautiful.
It's amazing. Do you know my first sale from that wasn't until 2024, last year?
No way.
And I sold a bunch of them, but I just kept putting it out there, putting it out like that. I know this is gold. This came from God. I know this is gold. So it just goes back to your point of like, you just have to keep trying and maybe tweak a couple things. And like, you never know. When I tell people that story, they're like, oh my God, it took you 3 years to sell that. I also didn't believe in myself. Right. So
that was it.
Yeah, right. That it was like the belief in myself. It wasn't the content. It was actually believing in myself that I was someone that could sell something like this and people would benefit from it. So you just keep trying and you just keep going, right? It's like never giving up on something that is what you're meant to do. And eventually, 3 years later, you might sell your first one. It's so crazy.
But I know you heard yourself. Like you knew it was gold. And then when you decided and you believe in yourself to sell it, right? Which is really just educating people on an offer. That's all it is. Like, hey, I have this out there. It's up to you if you want to buy it. But you had to be excited and believe in yourself. Like you knew it was gold, but you had to believe that it was good enough, right? And not perfect and this and that. And that, we also put things out there, we're going to get judged. And so
for sure.
Who am I to put that digital course out?
It was my own self-worth, my own self-criticism, my own self-judgment. So it's a really cool reflection of your inner self, whatever you're creating. And it does come to a point where, that God put you here to do something in your gift, right?
Yeah.
So when you actually finally really believe that, it changes everything.
Yeah.
Right. You're not hiding behind all these other things. So
I think too, and it's not being attached, right? So you put this out there, but this is something that I've been doing more recently. I'm sure all of my mentors have taught me this, and friends and colleagues. But when I'm praying for something, right, I'm starting to get really, really specific now about my wants and dreams, which is very, very hard.
Yeah.
But if I don't believe that God is infinite, then I don't trust him. So if I say, because this is the kind of praying I used to do. I mean, I really want help.
Same.
I really want help, but I mean, this person needs it more. Like I was in nursing for a long time. I'd be like, how could I possibly ask for this when these people are dying in a hospital bed? How selfish of me. And that is how I spent, I'm in my 40s, decades of my life. Like I should just not ask. Now I'm at the point, and it's still hard for me, where I'm like, I really want this thing, and here's why, and here's what I think it's going to give me, and here's my feelings around it, right? And this is part of my prayer. And if it's not for me, meaning you didn't design this to be for me, can you start wiping it out of my prayers and my mind? Like take it completely away from me. And he did that recently. and I cried. And I was like,
yeah,
but I really want, but I worked hard on, like, I was really, and I was going to do such great things with this thing. If if I want, you gave it to me. But you also taught me not to be attached. But okay. So I was mad, and I'm allowed to be, and I'm not shameful for that. And I was mad, but I wasn't mean. I was just like disappointed and mad. Like, that was not for me. Why? Not even like a day or two later, something else came, and I was like, holy, I mean,
Yeah.
I want to swear, but
You can.
and
It's
okay.
okay.
Holy shit.
Holy shit.
It was a holy shit moment. I was like, okay, sorry to have lost the faith.
Oh,
It wasn't that specific thing. You were giving me this feeling over here, and wow, was that amazing. And both things would have been amazing, but I'm like, but that was for someone else, or this was for so, and I'm just saying, if you, when you pray or when you get really specific about that desire or that dream, and I don't want to like minimize it by saying, oh, but also you don't have to give it to me, type of thing, but just release me of this desire if it's not meant for me, because then maybe you have something else in mind. And right, so sometimes I do feel like some of it's minimal, like, okay, I'm going to launch the digital course, I want to make this much money. But then why? Like, it's not just because of that. What would you do with that money? And I try to get really specific. And so then when I do that prayer, I also then start to align myself with that person that's already received it. And I'm like, okay, well, what would she do today if she already had that thing?
yeah.
And so I try to act like that person a little bit more.
That brings up so many good points. Like, again, I feel like we should just do a series, Emily, because we have so many things. But I used to always pray like that too. And I would feel so guilty for, thinking I needed anything. I really grew up in a house where I had to be really grateful. I had to say thank you all the time. Like, it was never enough thank you. I always felt like I was ungrateful, So I never wanted to be like that in my prayers. But when you start getting so specific, there's this what do they call it, like meme or whatever, where God is holding this huge teddy bear. I don't know if you've seen it, behind his back, and this kid has his like favorite treasure bear, and he's like holding it out in front of him, and God's asking him like, okay, give me this one.
Yeah.
And he's like, but I don't want to. It's my favorite. It's my favorite. And not knowing that he has this huge one behind his back, like, it gives me chills. And I use that in reference all the time, because you've got to let go to make space.
Yeah.
And sometimes we do have to pray for, like, release me of this thing that I want so bad, and allow yourself to feel like, I think a lot of times we want to push down the grief, and we want to like hurry up and get rid of it so we can move on with our life. But you really got to sit there with it, or else it'll come back in deeper, bigger ways. So allow yourself to feel it, be grateful for the experience, and then be ready for something new. Like, that wasn't it. Yeah. How can I be more curious and excited about the unknown versus like thinking it's such a dark and scary place, because it most of the time isn't.
I think you're right. I think that's what people really need to hear, is that, a lot of women that we probably work with, that we're coaching, are kind of living, and I'm not saying it's a complete worst case scenario, but kind of a worst case scenario. Like, I'm stuck, or I'm here, or I don't know how to move forward. Yeah. Well, then what is the risk to get a little uncomfortable to move forward? You probably hear this. I might even go to say 99.9% of people I've ever worked with, so close to 100, say, oh, they're at the other side now. And they go, that wasn't so bad. I wish, one of the three things. I wish I did it sooner. And I wish I believed in myself. Yeah. And there is no, you did it when you chose to do it at the time you chose to do it.
Perfect timing.
And it's perfect timing. And now you've seen that now you are okay. You were going to be okay the whole time, but now you're okay, if not more than okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what you like, that's literally, I think, what Meg and I both work to help people get to, is like, I just want to show you that, like, if this is worst case scenario, it really can't get that much worse. What's on the other side of that? What's that feeling that you're longing for? Let's try to get closer to that so that you can see that that's possible.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes that's such an interesting journey, because, you can look and say, I actually see you here. I see you already you already leaped, girl. Like, I can see you over here. And it is just, the trust in yourself, the deep faith in whatever it is you believe in. It has to be something bigger than you. I see a lot of people have a lot of like religious trauma, or they don't have faith in anything. And I'm like, that's going to be really hard. It's going to be hard for you, so you've got to, even if it's just in yourself in the beginning, you've got to be able to believe in something to get you over there. And then also it's like, again, like I said, that relationship with the unknown where it's like, I'm going to be okay no matter what. No matter what happens,
Yeah.
I've always been okay. So even if I fall flat on my freaking face, I'm going to get up and I'm going to try it. Yeah, I'm going to try again. You know?
I think it is that blinded faith, the unseen, and the trust in yourself that I know I will figure this out. It's either going to work or it's not going to work. And then you're going to go back to that beginning, which you already were at that drawing board not that long ago. So just go right back to it and try the next thing and do the next thing. Or again, reach out to people or someone that could help you get through that gap or that valley or wherever you're in. Because sometimes you are not supposed to do that alone.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's too hard because we're in our heads and we're like, I'm trying to control this outcome. And we have to release the outcome first.
Oh my God. And that's the hardest part sometimes.
Yes.
And that brings such a good point, just to like, you know, circle back to the beginning and why we're having this conversation is like, you don't have to do it by yourself. And I mean, yeah, sure. It'll be an accelerated path when you work with somebody to like help you move forward. Maybe what would take you 3 years is only going to take you 6 months. Like, I don't know. But I thought my whole life, like, I always was doing everything myself. And this is something really hard for me even now to be able to like ask for help. And like, I actually don't need to do this on my own. I was praying before bed the other night and I was like, okay, the next 90 days, like I'm gonna run it. I'm ready to just like kick some butt and just run it after this week is over.
But remember, she was burned out. So now you gotta recover from the burning.
Right. So, and I'm praying to God and I'm like, God, I got this. I got this, God, I got this. And this whole like flood of, it was like almost like a remembrance. And it was like, Megan, you don't got this. Like, you've got this with God. Like, we've got this. Yeah. And it's just such a testament to like, that's my automatic thought still.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So it is just something to remember. And I just love to remind people all the time, like, you don't have to do this by yourself. There's you have an arsenal of people. You have so many reinforcements and people that are like ready and willing to help you. Mm-hmm. And sometimes just putting yourself in that frequency of like investing in yourself and trusting yourself, like that will leaps and bounds. You will leap your butt over the bridge, like, so fast.
And even being able to receive. Someone I was working with earlier today, it's like, it's so debilitating, especially for an ambitious person to ask for help, let alone asking is already debilitating.
Yeah.
It's actually accepting it and receiving it, right? And so sometimes it just even starts with the one ask or the one piece of communication with maybe a partner like, hey, I'm actually not okay. I might need a little extra support this week. And then I also, at least for me with my spouse, is like, first of all, it's how are you this week? Because for me to put something or do the ask and like, I haven't heard how he's doing, to me, I don't think that's fair. So I'm like, let's check in. How's this working? And then, okay, so, you're good? Great. Just want to check that. Okay, so you're good. We've established that. Can I get to my story now? My story, I'm not okay. These are the needs I have. We talk about it on Sundays. Sometimes I'm like, can we talk about the week? And he's literally like, he's right. Yes, because at this point, when I say, can we talk about the week to him, we've talked through this so that it's not, but he's like, it's all the things she's going to ask me to do. And I'm like, yeah, but it's more as like, but we're a team. So like, where can the team help the one team and the other team? And I always just try to bring this in like, remember the team? Well, this team member, he's where does it fit where you could do this? And that's kind of how I say it. Like, what day? Because he's like, I have so much to get done on Wednesday, and I'm not going to nitpick. Oh, what do you have to get done? Because I don't want someone to do that to me. Mm-hmm. But it's like, okay, so you kind of see where the big picture is now for the week. Where can you start filling in those gaps? And then now I know I either ask him for that extra help, or I ask somebody else, or I switch my stuff around. That I got. Even if I got 50% of the things I might have needed. Yeah. But it's being able to receive that and not thinking that they think you're not good enough. Yeah. Or strong enough or
you feel guilty for receiving. Right. Yeah.
Or feeling guilty for receiving. Like, because I know Megan, I'll say this too. I can't do this alone. Mm-hmm. I'm a solopreneur, but I do not run my business alone. Yeah. I have multiple coaches, consultants, outsourced work, contract workers, like, who do I need now? And being willing to say that, like, wave the white flag, made a mistake, or I need this help. And, or friends. I have friends that I'm like, hi, I want to burn it to the ground tomorrow. You're just going through a bad time. Okay, great, cool, thank you. I just needed to hear that.
I'm in the fetal position in my bathroom.
Right.
I'm like, I can't do anything. I can't do anything.
I think every entrepreneur goes through this. Like, you have to phone the friend that's going to pick you up and be like, "Don't burn it down yet. Let me talk to you through that."
You just need sleep and like a piece of cheesecake.
I need a Snickers bar. No, just kidding.
Yeah,
Not that. We eat healthier than that. Something like that.
Yeah. No, Emily, you do such a great job, of being such a great example. You bring incredible women together. Emily's always like every one of her events goes to, some charity. Like you just do such beautiful work in the community. So thank you for having this conversation with me. And how can people find you and work with you? I'll put all like the contact info in the comments, but
yes, I mean, Instagram is at Dr. Emily Jacobs. And then honestly, in our empoweredmoms.co is our website, but that's where our newsletter is. That's where you're going to find our weekly newsletter. I try not to do more than that because I get it, especially for the moms. Like, no. But that's where you're gonna find like all the links. We do a monthly community chat. Everybody can jump on. It's 30 minutes. It's fast. I call it speed dating, networking, speed dating. Bring your links to this chat every month. At least you're meeting like 10 to 20 new friends.
Yeah.
And now you know about 10 to 20 more people every month that can either help support you, be a good friend. Maybe you hire them. Who knows? But I mean, that's kind of what we offer right now. And yeah.
And you have Empowered Moms coming up in October.
We have our third big event this October 5th, Sunday. Early bird tickets are probably on sale by the time this airs.
Oh my gosh.
Which is really soon. So we're really, really excited to bring that back to the community.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Emily. I love you so much. Give me a hug. I love you. And thank you for having me. And I will put all of Emily's information in the notes. And I'm going to get up and turn this off. And you guys are just going to be so excited to see my face up here. All right, ready? I'm going to stop recording.
You're so fun.